Hello and welcome to the news on Sansad TV with me, Bhawna Nayar. Before getting into details of the day's top national and international news, a look at the top 5 headlines this Tuesday evening. Prime Minister Modi meets Morbi accident victims, takes stock of rescue operations, holds high-level meeting with senior officers. Prime Minister Modi addresses Manghar Dham Ki Gaurav Gatha program in Banswara in Rajasthan, says India's past, present and future incomplete without tribal community. GST collections touch 1.52 lakh crore in October, second highest figure till date. Revenues have exceeded rupees 1.4 lakh crore for 8th month in a row. RBI launches pilot project of digital Rupee, project to be launched within a month at selected locations. And voting begins in Israel's general election main contest between Benjamin Netanyahu and Yair Lapid, results to be announced on Wednesday. And some more important news at a glance. Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar pitches for better connectivity in Shanghai Cooperation Organization region, underscores respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity for member states. Election Commission's two-day global conference on role, framework and capacity of election management bodies ends in New Delhi. Chief Electoral Officer of Himachal Pradesh says only women security officials will be deployed and 157 booths during assembly elections. Prime Minister Modi to virtually inaugurate Invest 3-day Karnataka Global Investors Meet in Bengaluru on Wednesday. Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar calls upon civil servants to take the lead in making India a developed nation during Amrit Kal over next 25 years. I&B Minister says Sardar Patel's pragmatism, grit and determination ensured integration of over 500 princely states with independent India. Second edition of Naval Commanders Conference is being held in New Delhi. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, CDS General Chauhan and Chiefs of Army and Air Force to interact with naval commanders during 4-day conference. Man accused of attacking husband of senior US politician Nancy Pelosi with a hammer to appear in court in San Francisco. President Joe Biden threatens to tax record oil company profits in a bid to lower petrol prices for Americans. A new government of Giorgia Meloni in Italy says it will criminalize unlicensed raves. And tonight's leading story, Prime Minister Modi visited the site of the bridge accident in Morbi on Tuesday. He reviewed the rescue operations and conducted an aerial survey of the area. The Prime Minister Modi also inspected the broken cable bridge. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel and other officials briefed the Prime Minister about the rescue operations after the bridge collapsed. At the review meeting in Darbargarh Palace, the Prime Minister said the findings of the investigation should be implemented at the earliest. He also stressed on the need for a comprehensive probe to bring out all the aspects related to the bridge accident. At the Morbi Civil Hospital, the Prime Minister assured all possible help to the injured victims and their families. The cable bridge connected Darbargarh Palace with the Swami Narayan Mandir that collapsed on Sunday. The death toll in the bridge accident rose to 135 on Tuesday. 170 people have been rescued so far. Of the rescued, 17 are undergoing treatment at various hospitals in Morbi. Armed force personnel, NDRF and other agencies are undertaking the rescue operations in Machu River. The police have arrested 9 people, including 4 employees of the Oreva group, in connection with the breaking of the cable bridge. Moving on, hitting out at the Congress, Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday said the previous governments never thought of all-round development of tribal areas. He was addressing people at Jambu Ghoda in Panchmahal district after inaugurating and laying foundation stones of projects worth over 860 crore of Gujarat. He said Atal Bihari Vajpayee had formed the Ministry of Tribal Welfare when he was the Prime Minister. He said no such ministry existed before the BJP came to power. The Prime Minister also inaugurated the newly constructed Godhra campus of Shri Govind Guru University on the occasion.
નો લાભ લઈ રહ્યા છે પણ એ વાત ભૂલવી ના જોઈએ કે આ બધું કहीं એક રાતમાં નથી આવ્યું ભાઈ એક દાડામાં નથી આવ્યું એના માટે ખૂબ મહેનત કરવી પડી છે યોજનાઓ બનાવવી પડી છે આદિવાસી પરિવારોએ પણ કલાકોની જહેમત કરીને મને સાથ આપીને આ પરિવર્તનને ધરતી પર ઉતાર્યું છે.
Continuing, the time has come for the nation to repay its debt to the tribal society for its sacrifices by serving them, said Prime Minister Modi on Tuesday. Addressing the Manghar Dham Ki Gaurav Gatha program at Manghar Dham in Banswara district of Rajasthan, he said the history, present and future of India remain incomplete without tribal society. The Prime Minister said the struggles and sacrifices of the tribal society in the freedom struggle did not get the place it deserved in the history written after independence. He asserted that India is rectifying that lapse in the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
भारत का वर्तमान और भारत का भविष्य आदिवासी समाज के बिना पूरा नहीं होता. हमारी आजादी की लड़ाई का भी पग पग इतिहास का पन्ना पन्ना आदिवासी वीरता से भरा पड़ा है.
Prime Minister Modi also paid floral tributes to the tribals who were martyred fighting the British Army in 1913. On November 17, 1913, under the leadership of Govind Guru, more than 1.5 lakh Bhils gathered on the Manghar hill. The British opened fire on them, killing nearly 1,500 tribals. And now some more news. GST revenues increased 16.6% to Rs 1.52 lakh crore in October. This is the second highest GST collection till date. GST collection reached a record high of around Rs 1.68 lakh crore in April. The figure last October was over Rs 1.3 lakh crore. Gross GST collections in October 2022 were 1,51,718 crore. The share of central GST is Rs 26,039 crore, state GST Rs 33,396 crore and integrated GST is Rs 81,778 crore. And elections in Himachal Pradesh now. The election campaign is intensifying in Himachal Pradesh. The state will have elections on 12th of November. Senior BJP leader and Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressed an election rally in Chamba district. He said the double-engine government of the BJP at the centre and the state had completed so many developmental projects in the state that Congress had not been able to do in 50 years.
चुनाव में मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी का अध्यक्ष था. मैंने कहा था आप हम पर भरोसा करिए, डबल इंजन की सरकार हिमाचल को विकास देगी और आपने भरोसा किया. हमने भी हिमाचल के विकास के लिए ढेर सारे काम करे हैं.
And to conserve water management, President Draupadi Murmu has called for global efforts in water management. The President was inaugurating the 7th edition of the India Water Week in Greater Noida to create awareness about the conservation and use of water resources. Describing water as a matter of national security, she said, water is shared by multiple countries and could be used as a weapon against any country. The theme of 7th India Water Week is water security for sustainable development and equity.
हम सबका प्रयास होना चाहिए कि इस संसाधन का मितव्ययता के साथ उपभोग करें. इसके दुरुपयोग के प्रति खुद भी जागरूक रहे और लोगों को भी जागरूकता बनाए. मुझे उम्मीद है कि इस 7 वाटर वीक के दौरान विचार मंथन से जो अमृत निकलेगा और इस पृथ्वी के और मानवता के कल्याण का रास्ता होगा।
And now news that everyone has been waiting for. The Reserve Bank on Tuesday launched the pilot project of digital rupee. The RBI said the digital rupee will be used to settle secondary market transactions in government securities. RBI expects the e-rupee will make the interbank market more efficient and thereby reduce the transaction cost. The Reserve Bank said based on the results of this pilot project, a system for other bulk transactions and cross-border payments will be created. The Reserve Bank has identified 9 banks: State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Union Bank of India, HDFC, ICICI, Kotak Mahindra, Yes Bank, IDFC First Bank and HSBC Bank to participate in this pilot project. The project of using digital rupee in retail will be started within a month at selected locations. And now a look at other news from across the nation. The Supreme Court on Tuesday said it would list for hearing on November 14 a PIL seeking constitution of Judicial Commission to probe the Morbi bridge collapse incident in Gujarat. According to the latest reports, the death toll in the collapse of the British-era bridge on Sunday on the Machu River in Morbi in Gujarat has gone up to 134. India's flagship digital payments platform, Unified Payments Interface (UPI), processed over 7 billion transactions in October, a record high for the platform since its inception, on the back of the festive season spending. According to the latest data released by National Payments Corporation of India (NPCI) in October, UPI processed 7.3 billion transactions worth Rs 12.11 trillion, a record high in terms of value of transactions. Delhi's 24-hour average air quality index AQI was in severe category on Tuesday, according to data from the Central Pollution Control Board. The national capital recorded an average AQI of 426 Tuesday morning. AQI between 401 and 500 is considered to be severe. Relief is expected from Wednesday evening onwards, when local winds in the city will increase dispersion of pollutants. Chief Operations Officer of the Royal Bhutan Army, Lieutenant General Batu Tshering, on Tuesday received the Guard of Honor at South Block. Lieutenant General Tshering is in India for a visit after an invite by the Chief of Army Staff of the Indian Army, General Manoj Pandey. Lieutenant General Batu's visit is scheduled to last for 6 days, during which he is set to meet the Chief of Defence Staff as well as Chiefs of Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. Today, Lieutenant General Tshering is also paid homage to the martyrs at the National War Memorial. Aviation turbine fuel prices witnessed a jump of 4.2% from today. The jet fuel is now retailing at Rs 1.2 lakh per kiloliter in the national capital. The increase in the jet fuel prices by Rs 4,842.37 per kiloliter reverses the 4.5% slash in prices implemented in the previous month. Time for a very short break here. Lots more coming up on the other side. Stay with us. We'll be back in a short moment.
क्या आप किसी कानूनी समस्या से घिरे हैं? नहीं पता क्या करें? क्या कहता है कानून? क्या हैं आपके अधिकार? समझिए कानून की बारीकियों को कानून की पाठशाला में, सिर्फ संसद टीवी पर।
Welcome back after the break. You're watching the news, and let's take a look now at all the latest from the Russia-Ukraine war front. Russia's defense ministry said on Monday that its forces carried out military strikes on military command and energy sites in Ukraine. Ukraine's Air Force said it shot down 44 of over 50 cruise missiles launched by Russia. Ukrainian officials said Russian missiles and drones hit 10 Ukrainian regions and damaged 18 objects, most of which are energy facilities. After a Russian missile attack on Kiev hit critical infrastructure on Monday, the mayor says the water supply has now been restored. Earlier, residents in Kiev queued for water, often for more than an hour, to pump water by hand from wells to fill plastic bottles and cans. Russia's largest gas producer, Gazprom, was allowed to conduct on-site investigation of the explosions on the Nord Stream 1 and 2 gas pipelines in Baltic Sea, Russian President Putin said on Monday. Putin said 2 craters, one 3 meters deep and other 5 meters, had been found. The United States has condemned Russia's decision to suspend its participation in the Black Sea Grain Initiative after Russia accused Ukraine of a drone strike against Russia's Black Sea fleet off the Crimean Peninsula. Ukraine has denied the attack, saying that Russia mishandled its own weapons. Britain has warned Russian President Putin of severe consequences if Moscow uses nuclear weapons in Ukraine, saying such a step would change the nature of the conflict. Foreign Minister James Cleverly also urged Russia not to impede grain exports and said that increasingly desperate statements from Kremlin were designed to distract from its faltering war effort. The United Nations Security Council met on Monday to discuss the suspension of grain exports through Black Sea. The meeting comes 2 days after Russia accused Ukraine of a drone strike against Russia's Black Sea fleet off the Russia's annexed Crimean Peninsula. Russia's ambassador repeated those allegations in the council on Monday. The UK said it is funneling millions of pounds into increasing Ukraine's cyber defenses. An initial £6.35 million package was mobilized in response to a rising tempo of Russian cyber activity at the beginning of Russia's invasion in February, but has been kept quiet until now for security reasons. The news came as the National Cyber Security Center, part of GCHQ, published its annual review. Moscow has denied involvement in cyber attacks on Ukraine in the past. And now news from some other parts of the globe. Israelis on Tuesday voted for the 5th time since 2019 on Tuesday. The election is hoped to break the political deadlock that has paralyzed the country for the past 3.5 years. One of the main issues of the election is the potential comeback of former leader Benjamin Netanyahu into the governance. Take a look.
For the 5th time since 2019, Israelis were voting in national elections on Tuesday, hoping to break the political deadlock that paralyzed the country for the past 3.5 years. Although the cost of living is surging, Israeli-Palestinian tensions are boiling over and Iran remains a central threat, the foremost issue in the vote once again being former leader Benjamin Netanyahu and his fitness to serve amid corruption charges. His main rival is the man who helped oust him last year, the centrist caretaker Prime Minister Yair Lapid. Elections have predicted a stalemate. But a powerful new player has also emerged in the form of Itamar Ben-Gvir, a leading far-right politician. Ben-Gvir has surged in opinion polls recently and will be seeking a harder line against the Palestinians if he helps propel Netanyahu to victory. With former allies and proteges refusing to sit under him while he is on trial, Netanyahu has been unable to form a viable majority government in the 120-seat Knesset or parliament. His opponents, an ideologically diverse constellation of parties, are equally hamstrung in cobbling together the 61 seats needed to rule. That impasse has landed Israel in an unprecedented political crisis that has eroded the Israelis' faith in their democracy, its institutions, and their political leaders. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And from Israel to now Denmark. Denmark is also voting on Tuesday in what promises to be a tight election in which the balance of power could be tipped by which side if the political divide manages to woo the middle ground. The election was triggered by the mink crisis that has embroiled Denmark since the government decided in November 2020 to cull the country's roughly 15 million minks over fears of a mutated strain of the novel coronavirus. Take a look at this report. Polling stations opened across Denmark on Tuesday in elections expected to change the Scandinavian nation's political landscape, with new parties hoping to enter parliament and others seeing their support dwindle. More than 4 million voters can choose among 14 parties. Domestic themes have dominated the campaign, ranging from tax cuts and a need to hire more nurses to financially supporting Danes amid inflation and soaring energy prices because of Russia's war in Ukraine. At least 3 politicians are vying to become Prime Minister. They include Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, who steered Denmark through the COVID-19 pandemic and teamed up with the opposition to hike Danish defence spending in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and 2 centre-right opposition lawmakers, Jakob Ellemann-Jensen, the Liberal leader, and Sam Pape Poulsen, who heads the Conservatives. On the centre-right, 2 new parties that want to limit immigration are bidding to enter parliament and may push out a third similar group that had a key role in earlier governments by pushing for stricter migration rules without being inside a governing coalition. Bureau Report, Sansad TV. And a roundup of more international news in Global Wrap. Truckers in support of Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro blocked the main highway linking São Paulo to Rio de Janeiro on Monday in a protest against former President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's election victory. They parked dozens of vehicles on Dutra Road in a demonstration that aimed to show their dissatisfaction about the result in Latin America's largest democracy. The United States and South Korea began one of their largest combined military air drills on Monday, with hundreds of warplanes from both sides staging mock attacks 24 hours a day for the better part of a week. The operation, called Vigilant Storm, will run until Friday and feature about 240 warplanes, including variants of the F-35 stealth fighter from both the US and South Korea, conducting about 1,600 sorties, the US Air Force said today. The main accused of bulging US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer after forcing his way into the couple's home threatened to take her hostage and break her kneecaps if she lied under his questioning. David Wayne, the papa's alleged intentions emerged as federal prosecutors charged the 42-year-old suspect with assault and attempted kidnapping in Friday's pre-dawn break-in at the San Francisco's home of the Pelosi's. Qatar is ramping up preparations for the upcoming FIFA World Cup, implementing temporary road closures ahead of the global soccer tournament. The smallest country to host the showpiece event is preparing for an estimated 1.2 million visitors during the World Cup and is introducing measures to help prepare for the influx. Most government employees have been ordered to work from home during the tournament that starts on 20th of November. The closure of gas stations in Hanoi raised concerns about a fuel supply crunch spreading in Vietnam. Several stations in Hanoi have put out signs saying temporarily closed or waiting for resupplying. Vietnam said on Friday the country was not facing fuel shortages, seeking to calm fears after some petrol stations in southern cities cut or limited sales. Scores of revelers took part in New York City's Greenwich Village Halloween's parade on Monday. Floats carrying costume participants, marching bands, and other people made their way through the Greenwich Village section of Manhattan in the 49th edition of the annual event. Take a look.
Ghosts, skeletons, and witches flooded the streets of downtown Manhattan in the Village Halloween Parade on Monday. Organizers expected about 60,000 participants in this year's Village Halloween Parade. Most of them were in costumes, on floats, in marching bands, or navigating giant puppets. Organizers chose freedom as the theme of the 2022 parade and made sure women were at the forefront. An 8-piece brass band, the Brass Queens, led the parade. The Village Halloween Parade started small in 1973 and quickly attracted thousands of costumed revelers. Halloween or All Saints' Eve is a celebration observed in many countries on 31st October, the eve of the Western Christian feast of All Hallows Day. It is dedicated to remembering the dead, including saints, that is hallows, martyrs, and all the departed. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And let's now see what's happening in the world of sports. Captain Jos Buttler's scintillating knock of 73 powers England to a crucial 20-run win against New Zealand in the T20 World Cup. Win takes England past Australia to second spot in group. Dhananjay De Silva unbeaten knock of 66 and a 3-wicket haul by Vanindu Hasaranga guides Sri Lanka to victory by 6 wickets against Afghanistan in their T20 World Cup Group 1 match at the Gabba in Brisbane. India will take on Bangladesh at the Adelaide Oval tomorrow, hoping to get their T20 World Cup campaign back on track after having lost to South Africa in their last match. Belarusian Arena Sabalenka scored a grueling 6-3-6, 7-6, 7-5 comeback victory against number 2 seed Uns Jabeur of Tunisia on the opening night of round-robin play at the WTA Finals at Fort Worth, Texas, USA. In another match at the WTA Finals, 5th seed Maria Sakkari defeated 3rd seed Jessica Pegula in a pair of tiebreakers 7-6, 7-6. And with that, it's a wrap of today's bulletin. Thank you for joining in. We'll be back tomorrow, same time. Stay tuned to Sansad TV for all the latest updates round the clock. Thank you. Good night. Namaskar.